All right, today it's the battle of the cakes. Box mix versus scratch mix. We're gonna go head to head, and you be the judge to see what you want to make at home. Let's start with the box mix. So box mix is super easy. Actually, my wife and kids every year make me a box mix cake on my birthday. So first thing we gotta do, box mix is easy. You take the mix, put it in the bowl. All right, there it goes. So we're gonna put all the powder in here. We're gonna add 3 eggies to it. 1, 2, and 3. And then we got a little bit of oil and water. Okay, so we're gonna put that all in, and then we're going to gently give it a mix. The other thing that I like about a scratch mix versus a box mix, there's no added chemicals to it, right? Not that there's a lot of junk in here, but I bet that if you read the label of the box, there's a couple things that you ain't gonna understand. So the more you mix this, the better it's gonna come. So now that we got that all mixed up, so I'm gonna set this aside, and now I'm gonna make the scratch mix so that we could kind of get a little side-by-side comparison. Now we're talking scratch mix, baby. So first things first, we are going to put in our custard. This is one of my secret ingredients. You've probably heard me talk about it, but years ago I wanted to make my recipe a little bit more moist, and I was playing with all kinds of different things, and I was sitting on a bench. It was funny because I was leaning on a bucket of custard, and it was like it hit me. And then I started experimenting by adding custard to the raw cake batter. And I gotta say, not because it's mine, but it is an amazing, amazing mix. So in here we have our milk powder and we have our baking powder. So I'm gonna put that in. So we're gonna put some sugar in there. I'm gonna put some flour and salt. Now I like using a cake flour, okay, because I think that a cake flour definitely has a better mouthfeel. All right, so now that I got all my dry ingredients in and my oil, I start to incorporate it together. So now that it's becoming almost like a paste, right? And we're gonna add our eggs and vanilla, and I'm gonna add it a little bit at a time, because if you add it too quick, it's gonna get lumpy. When you're mixing cake batter, you can overmix it or you can undermix it. So at Carlo's Bakery, we take the specific gravity to get the perfect crumb structure in a cake. And I'm gonna make a separate video on that so you guys can check it out. So now that I got my eggs in, I'm gonna let my cake batter whip a little bit. So I'm gonna let that mix for about 30 seconds. So for this cake, we're creaming it with the paddle. Other cakes you'll have to whip with a whip, depending on what kind of cake you're making. But this type of cake, this is an American sponge cake, we use a paddle. I'm gonna add my water to it. There's no doubt about it, that is faster than this. But the proof is gonna be in the pudding. You will be the judge to see if it's worth it. Because you're gonna have to weigh your ingredients, you're gonna have to mix it a little bit longer, but certain things are worth the wait. All right, guys, all done. Look at that, velvety batter. It's like liquid gold. When you look at them side by side, theirs is a little thicker. Look how much more aerated mine is in comparison. See the little vanilla flecks from using real vanilla, and theirs is a lot more yellow, but that's because of food coloring. This is what real natural cake batter looks like. This is the color of it. If you want just a good old-fashioned vanilla cake, this is the way to do it. So now let's get them into forms. We're gonna bake them off, and then you're really gonna see the difference. So now I'm gonna put these in the oven. We like to bake our cakes at about 325 so that we don't get the crowning. I'm gonna put them in, I'd say, for about 30, 35 minutes. Alrighty, guys, so here you have it. We baked these cakes and we cooled them for about an hour, so they came down to about room temperature. The box mix baked with a lot more of a crown than my cake. My cake came up nice and even. The proof is in the pudding. I cut these cakes here. This is your box mix. This is the grain of the sponge, right? Very moist. I'll give them that. But you can see all the aeration. It almost feels oily. And that's done purposely so that you get longevity out of this cake. They want this cake to be able to sit on your counter for 4 or 5 days and still be moist. You see how the crumb structure has a lot of tunneling in it? That's from that chemical leavener. As you can see, as the heat conducted, it wanted to push that cake up. And this is exactly what you get here, and you see that in here. What happens with that is you have more of a drier texture. It's more of a crumbly texture, not that smooth, velvety feel that I look for in a cake. So now, we're gonna show you my cake, okay? Dun dun da! Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, look at that crumb structure. It's perfect, it's light. That's the difference between a box mix and a scratch mix. This has got the perfect crumb texture, the perfect mouthfeel, really, really super moist, velvety, delicious. Even the color. I like the color of this better than that. It feels like a more natural cake, where this one looks chemical, over-processed. So you see this even crumb structure? That's from paddling and creaming the cake batter so that when you bake it, this is the result you get. You get the perfect crumb structure. So what I'm gonna do now is, again, I'm gonna show you the trimming of the cake to see like how much waste you get. And again, when you feel this, it just feels heavy. It's like dunk. Where when you feel this, it's like angelly light and fluffy and aerated. Okay? Look at the difference of the tunneling. We got no tunneling here in Hoboken, baby. Final verdict. Which one do you like better? This holy guy over here with all that tunneling, or this smooth, velvety dream cake? Either way, as long as you're baking, it's good with me. But up your game. Try to do a scratch mix my way, Cake Boss style, baby. This here was a viewer request, so let me know in the comments if you have any more requests for me to do, or you have any more questions. That's why I want to do this. I want to educate you guys to be your own cake bosses at home. Now, I'm not turning down my kids' cake when they make it for me for my birthday, but the homemade cake is a far superior cake. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave me some comments in the comment section. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.